last night it was really all of my frustrations that I've always had with the Dallas Cowboys, certainly in the last couple of years, all bottled up into 3.5 hours of misery. Now, as many of you out there know, I was a Cowboys fan. Now I've got a weird love-hate relationship. It's more on rocky terms these days. But I decided, look, these days, the only man you can rely on at this point, obviously Micah Parsons has come in. He's the best player on the team. But the only man you can rely on consistently to be the only steady force in that organization is Dakota Prescott. And I hear it feels like half of Cowboys Nation coming out of that game, the number one scapegoat was Dak himself. Only 134 yards passing. Not a very good completion percentage. He had that interception to Winfield of the second quarter. No touchdowns, not only for Dak, but for the whole Cowboys offense. They got that Brett Maher field goal, 7 minutes in, and that was all she wrote for the Dallas Cowboys in terms of scoring. But I'm hearing a lot of people blame Dak for the loss. Now, not here to say that Dak played great. He did not, by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't know. Call me crazy. But when you have an offensive line who cannot protect for more than a second and a half on a good play, when your best receiver, quote unquote, gets open pretty consistently, but apparently hasn't been vaccinated. No, wait, no, he's been vaccinated against COVID. Don't worry, he's been vaccinated against COVID. I'm saying he hasn't been vaccinated against his case of the drops. Because CeeDee Lamb drops footballs like nobody's business. And so your only guy who can consistently separate can't catch. Your other guys can catch. They just can't separate. Noah Brown had a decent night, but Dalton Schultz was more of just a security blanket for the Cowboys at the tight end spot. You had guys like that Houston kid, the guy whose name, what's his name? Semi. Looking down the line of Cowboys receivers, is it Dennis Houston was the kid's name? He's working with undrafted guys. He's working with, Noah Brown was a 7th round pick in 2016. He's working with a pretty thin cupboard here. Not to mention, one of the few things that actually went right for the Cowboys was running the football. Ezekiel Elliott looked pretty good last night. Had fresh legs, right? We saw the work that he put into his body in the offseason. He looked good. 5 yards a carry, you'll take that any day of the week, especially after the way he ended last season. That's a big bounce back. And he had 10 carries. So the only offensive formula that's working for you, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you completely abandon it. Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore more specifically, completely abandoned it. Not to mention, another game, shocker, the Dallas Cowboys committed double-digit penalties. What? You mean after 14 penalties in the playoff loss to San Francisco and 17 penalties in the first preseason loss to Denver, the Cowboys committed double-digit penalties? I'm surprised it wasn't more, to be completely honest with you. Terrence Steele by himself committed 4. But it's Dak's fault. That's right. When the Cowboys had an opportunity to go get Von Miller in free agency, but they didn't want to pay him, Buffalo did. Yeah, that's paying off pretty well. He had 2.5 sacks opening night. Oh, yeah, the Dallas Cowboys, with a thin receiving group, had an opportunity, just like the rest of the league, to go get Julio Jones. They did not. The team the Cowboys played last night did get Julio Jones. Julio looked pretty good last night now, didn't he? But it's Dak's fault. Don't forget that. So this is why I have said, for 2 years on this show. I definitely said it 2 years ago when Dak was on that franchise tag and he was going to be a free agent in 2021. I said, Dak, get out of Dallas as soon as you can. As soon as you can. Whether it be via free agency or whether it be via the Russell Wilson route. Play the good guy for a few years. Organization isn't helping you whatsoever, and bail. And even the way the injury news broke, shows you why Dak needs to get out of Dallas. Who broke the news that Dak Prescott had broken his thumb? Wasn't a Cowboys reporter. It wasn't, Ed Werder or Jane Slater or Todd Archer. No, wasn't them. It was not the Cowboys team doctor. It was not a general manager. Oh, I'm sorry, the owner's the general manager. And it was not Mike McCarthy. It wasn't even Dak Prescott himself. It was Jerry Jones, the only owner in the NFL who holds press conferences after games. He is an egomaniac. He is a bad general manager. Okay. These last few drafts the Cowboys have had where they picked up some pretty good players like Micah Parsons, we know, superstar. He's phenomenal. Right? Trayvon Diggs, I thought played pretty well last night, right? Good pick. Okay. Some of these drafts, that's Will McClay. That is not Jerry Jones. That is Will McClay in the front office doing that. This has always been my issue. And when the Todd Archer report came out a few weeks ago, I talked about it on this very show. When the Todd Archer report came out a few weeks ago saying that the feeling within the Dallas Cowboys organization, particularly in the front office, was to say, let's see if Dak can carry us. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. All of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, save for one, outside of one, Aaron Rodgers, the organization goes out of their way to surround their star quarterback, their franchise quarterback, with as much talent as possible. The team Dallas played last night, Tampa Bay, well, they've done it and then some. The Rams have done it. The Chargers have done it. The Raiders have done it. The Broncos have done it. The Chiefs have done it. The Bills have done it. The Niners are trying to with Trey Lance. The Dolphins are trying to with Jimmy Garoppolo. The Eagles did with Jalen Hurts. I mean, even the teams with unproven quarterbacks are going out of their way. And you say, well, Dak's making $40 million a year. So is Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers is making $50 million. So, no, the contract is not an issue. As a matter of fact, the Cowboys actually they're in the top 10 in cap space in the NFL. They got plenty of money to spend on players, but they don't. You know why that is? Because Jerry always talks about we love to build through the draft. Right? We want to build through the draft, build a Super Bowl contender. No. You know why that is? Because if the player succeeds, it's once again Jerry saying, hey, that was me. We didn't have to go on free agency to go get a proven player, a player everybody already knew was good. No, it's got to be my guy. My guy's got to be the one that succeeds. The coach that I can control. Chan Gailey, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy. This all stems from the top. And so Dak Prescott getting hurt could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise for two reasons. One, so he doesn't have to get hit basically every play. And two, all right, see what the Cowboys' offense looks like without Dak, because they were bad with Dak. As my guys from the Cowboys Camp Fan podcast, shout out to those guys. They do a phenomenal job. As they pointed out, as Ant pointed out last night, what about Dak Prescott was the same quarterback last year who set the Cowboys record for most passing touchdowns in a season with 37. He threw for well over 4,000 yards. He had a passer rating over 100. He led the Cowboys to a division title. That's the same Dak from last year to this year. What has changed? They started taking more and more pieces away from him. So they take Amari Cooper away from him. They take Cedric Wilson away from him. They take Lyle Collins away from him. They say, hey, Dak, with a first-round pick from 2020 who has not even come close to panning out to what we thought he would be, CeeDee Lamb's a 2. He's not even the same galaxy as Justin Jefferson, who, by the way, was taken right after him. Another draft mistake by the Cowboys. With Dalton Schultz, who's a fourth-round pick from a few years ago. With Dennis Houston and Noah Brown and Simi Fehoko, go out there and beat the greatest quarterback of all time. Come on now. It's so ironic that I compare Dak Prescott coming out of the 2016 draft. I said he's a bigger Russell Wilson. Good arm, but is not going to blow you away with his arm. Accurate, moves around well, can run, but he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not going to run if he doesn't hit his first or second read. And incredible leadership intangibles. Very coachable. Like, saw a lot of parallels between Dak and Wilson. Also like Wilson. Remember Russell those last 3-4 years in Seattle? Anytime the Seahawks would lose, everybody blamed Russell. They didn't blame Pete Carroll's defense, which got worse and worse as the years passed on. They didn't blame their lack of running game or lack of weapons. It was Russell's fault. And Russell's last year in Seattle, he suffered the exact same injury that Dak suffered. The parallels are there. So I say to you, Dak, however many games you miss, if you had asked me my guess, I'd say 6. Dak is a quick healer. I think it'll be 6. He'll be back before the 8-week mark. I believe that's just speculation. Cowboys will probably win if they get very, very lucky. One of those. They're not beating the Bengals next week. Okay, that's the Bengals. I checked the line. The Bengals are already 7-point favorites on the road in Dallas. Cincinnati, after that heartbreaking loss yesterday against Pittsburgh, is going to mop the floor with the Cowboys. Giants, I don't know. The way Saquon Barkley looked, I don't know. That's not a gimme. Okay, you got Washington. Washington looked all right. They're dang sure ain't beating the Rams at SoFi Stadium. They're dang sure not beating the Eagles on the road in Sunday Night Football. I don't know. You think they're going to beat Detroit? Detroit just scored 35 points yesterday. You think they're going to beat the Bears? Bears just beat the Niners in a terrible rainstorm. I don't know. I mean, it's a coin flip, some of those games. Some of those games, they'll get smoked in. And even something else. I said a few weeks ago when Tyron Smith went down with that hamstring injury. And the Cowboys knew Tyron Smith was injury prone as he's gotten older and older, right? He's missed more and more games, and they still did not have a backup plan for him. And they're paying the price for it. The Cowboys knew most important player in a football team is obviously the quarterback. And as I've always said, the second most important player in the team is the backup quarterback. Ask the Philadelphia Eagles a few years ago how important backup quarterbacks are, okay? They can win you a Super Bowl if they're put in the right situation. And with Dak going down, Dallas's backup plan is Cooper Rush, who has started one game in the NFL. That's their backup plan, Cooper Rush. Undrafted in 2017 out of Central Michigan. That's their backup plan. He has started, may I repeat, one game. So this is 2020 all over again. Dak goes down, and the Cowboys, most specifically the offense, will sputter. You can blame Dak all you want, but did you see Aaron Rodgers yesterday? About to talk about him just a second. See how Aaron Rodgers looked behind a crappy offensive line and some pretty bad receivers? Didn't look so good. As a matter of fact, their QBRs, Dak's and Aaron's, were identical. Aaron had a 16, Dak had a 15. Aaron, like Dak, threw for under 200 yards. Aaron, like Dak, threw no touchdowns and one interception. It is why you say, oh, you're being a hypocrite. No, I'm not. A quarterback I am not a fan of. You guys, I've said this for a year and a half. Mac Jones ain't that dude. But I said a few weeks ago, when the reports were coming out about the disastrous Patriots offense during training camp, I said, you will not hear me be hard on Mac Jones this season because I can't. How am I supposed to be hard on a guy when he has no offensive line, probably the worst receiving core in football in New England? He's got a defensive coordinator as his offensive coordinator, and he's got a 70-plus-year-old head coach who refuses to evolve and is an average head coach without Tom Brady. I can't be hard on Mac Jones. I can't do it. I mean, yesterday's loss against Miami was predictable. Tua has all kinds of weapons. Mac has not. I can't be hard on Mac, and I don't even like Mac. Okay, I'm not an Aaron fan. I think he's phenomenal as a talent. I can't bash him. I mean, his best receiver is Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs and Randall Cobb. Are you kidding me? His offensive line is awful. I can't be hard on Aaron Rodgers, but I'm supposed to be hard on Dak. Okay, I'm gonna say it again before I get to the comments. Dak Prescott, if you are listening, the rare event that you are listening or watching, get out of Dallas as soon as you possibly can. Otherwise, It'll be Tony Romo all over again. A potential Hall of Famer who had his career wasted by Jerry Jones. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. Be sure to click that big red subscribe button and go check out the other clips and full shows of Carving It Up Live. Have a blessed day.